Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes,
Hi
ma'am.
everyone.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am, you are
ma'am.
audible.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Okay, good. So,
Audible.
this is our first session for Statistics for Data Science 1. So let me give a short intro. So I'm Lavanya. So I will be handling this course along with another instructor, Swati. So I have done my PhD from IIT Madras. So I am along with statistics, other math courses also I am handling. Okay, so let's start the session now. So usually in the open session, I try to discuss all the concepts of the week along with some examples and maybe here and there a few exercises if we have enough time. Okay. And then during the doubt session, I will be answering all your questions from any assignments or whatever. So try to use the open session for getting clarified with the conceptual things. And doubt session, let's try to use it to understand or how to deal with problems. Okay. So this is usually the style in which I am taking the sessions. I guess most of the sessions are handled in this way. Okay. All
Ma'am,
right.
is it revision session?
Yeah, there will be revision sessions. Before quiz, there will be some revision sessions.
Ma'am, was
Uh,
open session already happened?
This is the first session for Stats 1.
And this is the first instructor session.
Instructor
Right.
session, yes. So the previous sessions, I guess there were few sessions by the TAs, but this is the
Yes,
first
ma'am.
session by instructor. Okay? Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We're ready for this session.
Yes. So let's start. Okay. So we'll start with so what are the contents of week 1? So in week 1, first we'll understand what is statistics. And then in statistics, we have two different ways of doing statistics. So one is the descriptive statistics and another one is inferential
Are you
statistics.
going to stay from legit starting, ma'am?
Sorry, what? Okay. So, and then we introduce what is mean by population, sample, and how to differentiate them with some examples. Okay, so first we will look at the first part and then the remaining parts we will slowly look at once we finish the first part. Okay, so first thing we start with what is statistics, right? So statistics is the art of learning from data. So definitely statistics means we are dealing with data, right? And given data, how to learn from it. Learning means what? So we have to get some information out of the data, right? So now, how are we going to do this? So for this, first we need to do the collection of data, right? So first we collect the data and then we are going to organize and summarize the data. So that we call as the description of the data. And then the next part comes as the analysis of data, right? So in the first part, collection of data. So for example, suppose let us say I want to see like so each of you, how many hours do you usually spend for this IITM online program per week? It's just a rough time. Can you give?
Ma'am, 1 hour for TA session.
So in a week you are spending 1 hour. Okay.
No,
Total.
Around
no,
10
no.
hours. 10 hours.
Okay.
12
Okay.
hours, almost
10
12
hours
hours.
10,
for
12
course.
Okay.
10
12
hours
hours.
for
10
Okay.
to 12 hours.
Okay, okay. So the next
5 hours.
question will be, so what are your grades? So maybe now you don't have grades for stats one. So at the end of the course, maybe we can ask, so what are the grades each of you have got? So I want to see based on the time you are spending for this course, what is the corresponding grade you are getting? Okay, so first step is I will gather data from you. So how many hours? And then at the end of the course, I will also see what is your grade. So this is the first step, collection of data, right? And then the next step is description of
And
data.
your voice is breaking.
Is it the same for everyone?
No, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, it's
I'm
clear for
clearly
me.
No,
audible.
ma'am. It's clear.
Oh, okay, fine. So the next step is that, so next step we are going to see something like description of organizing data. So in the sense that, suppose let us say those who are spending less than 5 hours a week. Okay, so what are their grades? So what is the minimum grade or maximum grade? So something like this. So we can classify like this, right? And maybe we can also see what is their average score, right? And also people, yes.
Ma'am, I want to ask that this session recording is available or not?
Yeah, this is live streamed. Live streamed. It is available in YouTube.
Okay, in recorded form or live?
Sorry, what?
In recorded
live streamed.
Okay,
You can watch it later on from YouTube.
okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, do we get also the PPT or the PDF?
Yes, I will share a drive with you where all the notes, whichever I'm using
Yes,
for
ma'am, this
session,
PPT is very beautiful.
Thank you,
This
ma'am.
I
PPT
will
is very
share the
beautiful.
Okay, okay. So I'll share it with you later on. Okay, so see, one common suggestion. Let's not try to interrupt with these questions. So these questions can even be asked at the end of the session also. So let's not interrupt the flow. If there is something on which we are discussing, you can definitely ask questions. But apart from that, let's not disrupt the flow. Let's keep the flow, and whatever questions you are having, so at the end of the session, when I ask, do you have any questions? Definitely I will give time. So at that time, you can ask questions. Okay. If there is something on the topics we are discussing, you are welcome to ask in between. Okay. Fine. So we were now discussing about first collection of data and then organizing. So organizing in the sense that suppose less than or equal to 5 hours. So this is the hours spent, right? This is the hours spent. And then I'm going to, this is some roughly I'm writing, okay? So greater than or equal to 5 and less than or equal to 10. So more than 10 hours per week. And so this way I'm just summarizing the data. So I'm going to calculate the average in each case and also minimum and maximum grade. So now I have a summary. Okay, so if people are just spending less hours, I see the average. So let us say average score is somewhere, let us say maybe 35 or something. Okay. And for students spending 5 to 10 hours, let us say it is somewhere between somewhere around like 53 or something. Okay. And greater than 10 means they are going to get, let's say, 75. So this is the average score, let us say. Okay. So I'm just approximately giving. So this is what I am doing as a second step. That is a description of the data. So here I am organizing the data. Right? Okay, so here you see that for organizing the data, I can use tables. So this is kind of a table you see, I have made a table, or I can also use something like a pie chart. So in a pie chart, we have not started, so I don't want to go into how to make a pie chart or something. So we can use bar chart, pie chart to represent these things. Okay, and then the descriptive measures, how to find mean, median, mode, or whatever is applicable for the given data. So these are the part which we can do in the second part, right? Organizing and summarizing, right? And then the next part comes analysis of data. What is meant by analysis of data? So we use some statistical methods to discover patterns, relationship, and trends. So here, for example, I want to see based on the number of hours spent, is there any relation between the average score? So with this data I have written here, what do you think? So the more hours I'm spending, the average is going to be?
Increase.
Yeah, it is going to increase, right? So you see there is some relationship between the hours spent and the average score of the students, right? Okay. So in that case, you see this is the pattern or relationship I am seeing. So you can see that in later weeks, we will see how to exactly understand this pattern using something called linear regression. Okay. So this maybe we'll see much later. Okay. And then drawing conclusions. Drawing conclusions in the sense that, so for example, now I have understood something from the data. From this data, can I answer the following? So, if I spend 8 hours a week, what is my expected average? Okay, so this is what we are trying to do. Okay, so based on the things which we have done in all the 3 steps, the last part we need to draw conclusions. Conclusions like this. So if given some hours, so it can be anything, not specifically 8. If given some value, can you find what is the corresponding average? Okay, can we conclude something? Okay, so this is the interpretation of results or drawing conclusions from whatever we have seen earlier. Okay, so this is how we can understand statistics. So what are we doing? First, we are collecting data and then we are organizing them either using tables or charts. Okay, and then we summarize the data. Okay, and then we also try to answer this questions like this. So that is drawing conclusions, which is at the last. So this is roughly what we are doing for understanding statistics. What is statistics? Okay, so roughly you can say that this is the process. You can confidently say what is statistics. You can use this same example, or it is a good practice if you can after the session maybe try some other example so that you can see whether you are able to describe each of these steps which we were discussing for the example I have taken. Okay, so you can see whether you have understood the topic in this way. Okay, fine. So the next
Analysis of data and drawing conclusion are same.
sorry, what?
Analysis of data and drawing conclusion are same.
Not exactly. See, for example, analysis of data. First, I'm going to see whether there is a relationship or not. If there is a relationship, what kind of relationship is there? That is what I'm seeing in analysis of data. And drawing conclusions. So this is a much wider topic. So this drawing conclusions, let us say, so if someone is spending less than or equal to 5 hours, or specifically if something like this, so what is the final result? So this is what we are concluding, right? We are not doing this in the analysis part. In the analysis part, we will maybe something get a relationship like this. So y is equal to mx plus c, this kind of a relationship we may get between x and y. Okay, so in the drawing conclusions part, we will see how strong are they related. And if we are given specific values, what can we do? So more or less, you see that each step, you see that with this, we can do this. With this, we can do this. With this, we can do. So every step is kind of interrelated. You cannot see one step completely different from the other. Only when you have each step, the next step comes very closer. Right?
Okay.
Okay, fine. So the next thing is that, so major
Ma'am.
brand, yes.
Ma'am, I was unable to complete the assignment of week 1 and I was also unable to join the live session. So is there any chance that I can now complete the assignment and from today I can start my preparation?
As I mentioned, so please ask such questions at the end of the session. Please don't interrupt in between. Okay, so something which are non-technical, please ask at the end. Okay, these things you can easily ask in the discussion forum as well. Okay, fine. So, yeah. So what are the major branch of statistics we see here? So first one is the description and second one is inference. What is description? The part of statistics concerned with the description and summarization of the data is called descriptive statistics. So here you see that you organize, you summarize the data. So summarizing in the sense that you use features like mean, median, mode, and do some kind of summary. So this is what you do in descriptive statistics. And what is that you do in inferential statistics? So suppose, let us say, I want to understand how the students in general are performing. But I see that in this session, there are like only 330 students or something, right? So, but the registered number of students are much higher. It's like some 2000 or something. So the data I'm getting is from a smaller group. Like the students who are in this session are the, from them only I'm getting the data, right? But with the data I am getting, I am going to conclude something about the entire population. That is the entire set of students registered for statistics 1. Okay, so this is kind of an inference we say. So we collect data from a smaller group Okay, and we conclude something about the entire population. So this is what we call inferential statistics. And for inferential statistics, we need something called probability. That is where we are going to study probability. Why probability? Because inferential statistics needs probability. So at this point, you may not see exactly how probability is coming into picture, but you can see that as we move on into later weeks, you can see how probability is going to come into the picture. Okay, so you see that what is descriptive statistics? So what does the data say? Just from the data, what are the observations? That is descriptive statistics. And what is inferential statistics? What can we conclude about the entire population? That is inferential statistics. Okay, fine. Okay, so we have seen two different branches of statistics, descriptive and inferential. Okay, so the next important topic here is what is meant by
I had a question in the above two branches.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that in the description portion, it is containing the description of data part from the above slide, and inference has drawing conclusions. So the analysis portion comes in description part or the inference part?
Analysis comes in the inference part.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I had a question here.
Yeah.
See, a lot of times such a thing is described, right? That you have data, what kind of statistics is this? My point is in some cases, we can't make an inference before describing the data, correct? So
Yes.
if say there is a multiple select question and both descriptive and inference is given, for sure there is some inference that's happening, but the inference itself cannot happen before you describe the data of either the sample or the population. So should we be saying that both descriptive and inference is happening, or it is still inference only in such cases?
Yes, ma'am. It was one question of the activity question.
Maybe you can specify what is the activity question maybe later, but one thing I can assure you, such ambiguous questions we usually avoid in the exams. So in the final exams, don't worry, we avoid such ambiguous questions. Ambiguous questions are good to discuss, but in exam point of view, we usually avoid ambiguous questions. Okay, so don't worry for that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So continuing.
What are ambiguous questions?
Ambiguous means where you have confusion. So whether
Means hard question, tough.
not kind of hard. So you may have some confusion. So you see some, for example, suppose you see very dark blue color. So dark blue sometimes looks like black, right? So you have a confusion whether it is dark blue or black. You are not sure about it. So there is some confusion in it, right? So this is what we call ambiguous. So we are not sure about a certain situation or scenario. That is ambiguous. Okay, fine.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ma'am, how to distinguish between descriptive statistics and inference statistics?
So as I mentioned, descriptive statistics means whatever is there in the data, only that is involved in the descriptive data for descriptive statistics. For example, so these data is what you have collected, and from that you have obtained this table or you have obtained this chart, etc. Okay, but inferential statistics, you are not just giving information directly from the data, but you are going to say something more about the data. See here, this is something you can see. So sorry. So this summarizes the data, but inferential statistics, we are concluding. Okay, so we are coming to conclusions beyond the data. We are using the data and we are concluding something more than what is available in the data. Okay, so with some 300 people, I am saying that if you are spending more hours, then you will be getting a more average score. So this is what is inferential statistics. Okay, so I am going to conclude something based on the data for a bigger population. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So already you have a idea population sample from here, I guess. So you see that, so for example, the entire
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt.
yes,
Repeat that again. I can't understand that. Any example for that to distinguish?
see, if I am going to say that, okay, so from the data I have gathered from this 300 students in this live session, so this is what I have. This table is what I have from the information I have gathered. This is descriptive statistics. Okay, and from here, what is the average of all the students? What is the mode of all the scores or hours spent? So these things are, we can say that descriptive statistics. So exactly from whatever is given in the data, I am giving some answers from the data. Okay, I am just describing from the given data. But inferential statistics is much more than that, in the sense that, so let us say that you are saying, so here from this data, I am saying that, so if the hour spent is more, the average score is more. So this is the conclusion I am making, and I am going to apply it for all statistics students. All statistics students who have registered for the course, the 2000 students who have registered for the course. Okay, so conclusion for all stat student. So this data is for 300 students.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, if we say like you have a table of 300 students and you have been given with the time they have studied, and now we want to find the average time every student have studied. Now the average time which we will find, it will be descriptive or inferential.
So just the average you are getting from the given data, that is descriptive only. You are not concluding about a bigger set, right?
But like you said, the registered student would be higher number, would be a higher number. It would be like 2000 or something. And you have a table of 300 student with the time they have been given, they have given to the study. Right?
So you are asking average of the students from where we have gathered the data, only this much, right? Did I miss? See, if we are just calculating the average from the data you have collected from 300 students, that is just descriptive. But if you are going to say that the average is expected to be the same for the entire 2000 students, then that is inferential.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am. Hello?
Yes, yes.
If comparison arise the questions, then that times we will use inferential statistics, right? Analysis.
What is your question?
My question is, if we have a data, if comparison arise in between the data, and this will give the information, just like we are comparing the two datas on making a conclusion, right? That time we are using inferential.
So here two data means which two data you are referring? I am not
Two
understanding.
data means if we have a data like I spend 8 hours a week, so this data like 8 hours and week. So this is called, this comparison is arising the question, what is the expected average? We are making a conclusion, right?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Population, we are making a conclusion. So this comes to inferential. So this part, so if, can I answer the following for any student? So that becomes inferential. Okay.
Ma'am, can you please go through once again?
Okay. So the
Quickly.
descriptive and inference is not clear, is it?
Ma'am, from starting. Quickly.
From starting is going to be too much. So let me quickly tell what is the difference between descriptive and inference. Okay. So let us say, so this is something very commonly said in many languages in houses, right? So I will say in a very plain language. So in house, so if you are cooking rice in a pot, so to check whether the rice is cooked or not, do you check each and every rice in the pot, or you just take a spoon and see whether the rice is cooked or not?
In a spoon.
Right? This is inferential statistics. So to understand about the entire population, that is the all rice in the pot, you are just taking a spoon and seeing if it is cooked or not, and then you are assuming, okay, if this spoon of rice is cooked, then the entire pot of rice is going to be cooked. This is what is inferential
This
statistics.
is inferential because we want to infer something.
Exactly.
That
So
cook is good or not.
this is inferential, right? But descriptive statistics means in that spoon, okay, so in that spoon, let us say there are 50 rice pieces you are counting, and in that 50 rice pieces, you are going to now, let's say, analyze the size of the rice pieces, or I don't know, maybe the weight or something like this. It's not very meaningful, but just I'm saying for what is descriptive statistics. So just this much information from whatever in the spoon you take, that is descriptive statistics. Okay, fine. This is a very plain language I'm saying.
Yes,
not-
ma'am.
Okay, fine. So
Very
let's,
good example it is.
okay, fine. So let's
Maybe easier example.
yeah. So let's move forward. So now the next thing is what is mean by population and sample. As I mentioned earlier, so in the earlier example, so we were considering all students registered for stats 1. So this is your entire population. So this is your population, right? And students in this live session. So this is my
Your sample.
Sample.
okay. So sample is a subset of population. Okay. So usually
A
why?
spoon of rice is a subset of a pot.
Yeah. So exactly. So you see why we need sample. Why can't we always just deal with the population? Because sometimes it is the data from the entire population is not available, or getting information from the entire population is very difficult. Okay, because of such reason, instead of considering the entire population, we are considering a smaller sample to understand the data. Okay, fine. Okay, so population means entire group, samples means smaller part of the group. And what is inferential statistics again? Using the sample to learn about the population is inferential statistics. Okay, good. All right, so I have already highlighted the answers, but still, so here identify the population and sample. So which is the population and which is the sample here? For first statement,
50 students is
All
the
the
sample
students
and
are
all
50
students
students
is the
sample.
population.
50 are
Population.
Entire
Yes, sir.
students is to your population.
so this is
Ma'am,
all,
50
Population.
students are
this is population, right?
population.
For statement 2,
20
20
bottles.
bottles.
20 bottles.
10,000
bottles.
bottles
The sample.
and 10,000 bottles
10,000
for
is the
population.
population.
10,000 bottles.
for statement 2,
Popu.
Sample and
1500 bottles.
people.
1500 voters are sample.
Population all.
This is
Bottles
data
are
the
the
population.
okay, fine.
Popu.
10.
Fourth one,
Ma'am, 10 answer
10
sheet. 10
answer
answer
sheet.
sheet.
The sheet
This
says
is a
sample
sample.
and the entire
This is
class
the sample and entire class is
Population.
population.
Population. Ma'am, in 5 to 100 adults are sample and all adults are population.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
In
100 packets of chips are sample and all packets are
100 packets of chips are
Packets of chips
sample
are
and all
sample and
products
all
are
packets produced
are
are
population.
population.
okay, very good. What about seventh one?
Ma'am,
50
50
deer is
sample.
sample
And
and
samples
Sample
and the
and
deer
the
population
deer
in the
one
forest is
Population
the
in the
population.
forest is population.
And ma'am, 75 students in 8 are sample.
All
all the
students
students in the college are
Students
population
in
and
college is
75 students are
population.
sample.
75
Population.
All the students in this live session are going to kind of same enthusiasm. I
Sample.
say that the entire batch of stats 1 is going to be the best batch. Okay. So
Thank you,
continue.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So the next exercise.
I just had one question, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Is it always mandatory that we need to study the sample to make an inference. Say if the population itself is small, we can study the population and also make an inference based on the population itself. Is that also valid?
Definitely, you can do that. See, sample is only when you are not able to do something on the entire population. If you are able to do on the population, it is much better, right? Because you have the actual data.
Accuracy will be better.
If you are going to do this inference, then it is going to be approximating only. And in that approximation, definitely you will have errors. And if you are going to deal with directly with the population, it's going to be much better.
But at that time, it not become descriptive.
Yeah, in that case, if you're considering the entire population and dealing completely with the population, yes, it becomes different. Right?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, is it right to see that descriptive means like all the data that is being given to us, we are analyzing on that basis? And for inferential, we have been given a small sample, and from the small sample, we are analyzing the population. That
Exactly. Exactly.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, I have a question regarding scale of measurement. Should I ask it right now, or should I ask it when we reach that point?
At the end of this topics. Okay, it's the last topic of today's session. Okay, please hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine, good. So the next exercise is again an easy one. Can you-
Ma'am, the third one is the answer.
Third option. Population is
Ma'am, the third one.
Ma'am, third option.
The population is the entire group,
Describe the
while
parameters.
sample is a subset of the population which is
Third
used to
option is
describe the
right.
parameters of the populations.
And
so the-
sample is a subset of population.
Third option.
Third option.
The third one, ma'am.
Third option.
Okay, fine.
Ma'am, but fourth option is also like it has some weight.
Ma'am,
Like if
why
you
can't be the fourth option?
No,
Yes, it's not.
volunteer only.
See, it's not the volunteers. Sometimes, see, in sampling, so how to choose a sample is again a big topic to study. We are not covering that in this course. So how
Random selection.
a sample is a big task. So in some cases, you have to be very specific that all different population, all different groups of population are considered. Otherwise, it's going to give a wrong inference. So for example, in this group of statistics students, so suppose I'm collecting data only from the standalone students, then what will happen? Definitely, they are going to put more effort compared to the dual degree students. Let's say, assuming most of the cases, so standalone students are going to have better time, so they are going to perform better. But if I'm using this smaller group to conclude a decision, to conclude about the entire group of stat students, it's going to give me wrong answers. So in that case, sample has to be chosen very carefully. I have to include people from dual degree students. I have to include also standalone students, people who are working. So all different categories of people should be included in my study. Then only I will have a unbiased inference, I can say, more or less.
Excuse me, ma'am.
okay, ma'am. And
Hello.
in the morning session, sir was
Yes, sir
sir was
told
telling,
that
sir told that
if
the
MSc,
fourth option can be a potential answer of this question.
but the most correct will be third one.
Yes, see,
Yeah.
who here to participate in this study, as I said that, so this is, I forgot the name of this kind of a sampling. There is one type of sampling where this is followed. For example, distribution of pamphlets, you see, you will not be offering pamphlets to everyone, but those who are taking the pamphlets, for only them, we are giving the pamphlets. So pamphlet distribution, in that case, sample is going to volunteers who are going to come and collect the pamphlets. Right? So, but this is not the scenario for everyone. So here they are giving the statement as a general statement. This is not a general scenario, right? That's why this is not correct.
Ma'am, if it comes as multiple select question.
Even then, this is not correct because they are saying population in general means this and sample in general means this. This is not correct. Sample
Ma'am, it is not given that population is volunteer. So this option is not right.
mention sample may be or can be the members of organization who volunteer, something like if instead of is. So is kind of a definitive statement. This is not a definitive case, right? This is only one possible scenario. It's not the all possible scenarios, right? So that's why
If
this is
is there, then all members should be there.
Yeah, so
It
this
means the volunteer people can be like from all sectors, or can be a good representation of population, or in
Not
the
good
more cases
representation.
it will not be a good representation of population. That's why I think fourth option is wrong.
anything. So volunteering sample can be anything. So in general, we don't do sampling only from volunteers. So that's why this is incorrect. That's it. Okay. Fine.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Hello,
Oh,
ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am, I have a doubt regarding variables and cases.
It's the next topic. Okay. So we will be seeing it in detail. Okay. So what is the
Ma'am, the second one.
Second option.
Second one.
What is the
Second
correct
option.
answer?
Second option.
Second option.
Option
Population is all
one.
library books. Ma'am, sample is
Second
120 books
option, ma'am.
from the library. Second option, ma'am.
Second option.
Ma'am, second option, right?
yes, it is
Second
not
option.
Second option.
library. This is very okay. So that's what it that's why option 2, not option 1. Okay. So you have to be careful on what you are mentioning as population also. Okay. All right.
Ma'am,
So
can we get these notes
yes, definitely. So I will be uploading it in a drive and the
from
drive will be shared with you.
okay.
So
Ma'am, I
basically,
have a
Google
doubt.
Calendar?
Sorry, what?
Hello.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So the data is two types, categorical and numerical. And in numerical, we have discrete and continuous. So can you explain what is discrete and continuous?
Can you please wait till we move to that topic? I'm going to cover all the topics of week 1. Okay. You have to be a
Oh,
little, okay.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now,
Ma'am,
yes.
I joined the meeting late, so where do we? I
This is live stream. You
the
can go
link to watch it.
later on. You can watch it in the YouTube later on. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So what is data? So what is data? So how do you answer this? So
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes.
Ma'am, do we get these notes?
Yes, we get notes for the session on all sessions. Okay.
Ma'am, can we get this PDF?
Yes, you will get.
But where?
As I told you, I will put it in a drive and the drive link will be shared with all of you. Okay.
In the calendar? In the calendar, ma'am?
Yes, you can get it in the course calendar. There
Yeah.
will be
Directly.
PDF.
Okay, so this we will discuss at the maybe in the next session. Once you have the drive link, you will understand. So please, till then, let's concentrate here. Okay, so now what is data? So data are the facts and figures collected, analyzed, and summarized for presentation and interpretation. So data means you already know what is data. So maybe just formally writing it down. So data means facts and figures. So how many hours, what is your marks, what is your age, what is your profession, or you dual degree student or a standalone student. All these are facts and figures, right? So this is what is data, right? And statistics relies on data, information that is around us. Data is nothing but the information available to us, right? And why are we collecting the data? The answer lies in the question itself, right? So in the definition of data itself. So to understand something, to learn something, we are collecting data, right? So for example, so data helps us understand people, places, things, and events. So we can make better decisions if we have enough data with us. So for example, so suppose we want to understand the weather. So how hot is Chennai during the month of May? So for this, what we are doing, we collect the daily temperatures for May and analyze them, right? So here, what is the data? It is the daily temperature we are collecting. And what is the purpose? Why do we collect this data? We want to understand the weather pattern in Chennai. Okay, same way you see, if you want to understand the student's performance. For example, how well did students perform in class 12 examination? Then what you have to do, definitely the teacher has to collect all the class 12 students' marks and you have to see how they are performing. So here data is exam marks and then purpose is to understand the performance of the students. Okay, so why we are doing this understanding performance? Definitely to see how to make better results in the upcoming exams. That is why we are understanding. It's not just I understood the data, that's it. So we are going to definitely use it for something else, right? Okay. All right, so the next example here is understanding people's preferences. So for example, do people like this song? So for this, how do you collect data? So the data is usually in the form of comments, likes, and ratings, right? And what is the purpose? Measure public opinion about the song. So whether such similar category of song should be produced more or not, something like this. Okay. So we understood why we are collecting data. And the next step is we saw that once we collect the data, we are organizing the data. Again, why we have to organize the data? So as you see that, so suppose usually this is what you see in classrooms, right? So the teacher usually asks, so how many of you present? And then each of the names the teacher reads, and then they will say present, absent, and so on, right? So now if you just have present, absent, you will not have a definitive answer. But after the end of the attendance session, so the teacher writes number of present, number of absent. This the teacher will write, right? So this is what is organizing the data. So if you just have present, absent, you will not have any information. Of course, you have the information, but you are not able to understand from this data. But if you see this, then you will be able to understand the present, how many are present and absent. That is much clear if you are organizing the data, right? So to organize the data, so here what is coming as structured and unstructured data. So in organizing a data, we have two types of data. One is structured data and another is unstructured data. And what are structured and unstructured data? So for example, unstructured data means that, of course, you see that there is not going to be any structure. So there is no organization. There is no predefined format. For example, if you are going to see the comments on YouTube, there are going to be like various different types of comments, right? You cannot definitely put them in categories, or you can organize them in any specific way, right? So it is very much unstructured. Social media posts, emails, photos, videos, voice recordings, these are very unstructured data. You don't have a...
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in the morning sessions, I told that emails are structured data because there are different types of emails, email domains like @Gmail, @Yahoo, like this.
Yes, see,
Therefore, they are structured certain.
yes, see, it depends on what you mean by emails. So here maybe we'll say contents of emails. In that way, it will be, it's not email IDs I am talking about, it's contents of email.
Content of email will be
The body of the email.
Yeah, the whatever is there in the body of the email, that you can say it as a unstructured data. So you have some information. Definitely in each mail, there is definitely a lot of data, but it is unstructured. How will you organize the data? So you are getting a lot of mails from students. So how are you going to organize? So can we organize in a specific way? It is unstructured.
No, ma'am.
So email is structured, email address.
Email address, you have some classification. For example, in this group, whoever has joined, I can split them as those who have joined with study mail ID. See, it depends on the context. So if I am saying that email ID, so the structure of the email ID, so whether they are belonging to study domain or not, this is my purpose. So in that case, it is structured. Okay, so what is the structure you are looking for is going to tell whether it is a structured data or unstructured.
So in exam, it will be mentioned no, that whether it is talking about email domains or contents of email.
Ambiguous questions you don't have to worry about in exams. In exams, we avoid ambiguous. Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
What about phone number?
Phone number.
Phone number.
Phone number, again, you see that. So if you are having some, let us say, country code. So in that case, based on country code, you have some categorization. But otherwise, what is the structure of the data? So there is no specific structure, like 10-digit numbers. So please mute yourself. Yeah. So this is what you are saying. So structure, unstructured.
Hello, ma'am. I have a doubt.
Just a minute. Let me complete the statement. Structure or unstructured sometimes is based on what is the structure you are looking for. Okay. Yes.
Ma'am, why web pages are unstructured data?
What is unstructured data?
Web pages.
Why?
pages.
Because they contain
They are talking
different
about web
types of
page.
data, image, files, text. That's why.
It's asking for web pages. Web pages. It's
Oh.
text heavy, so it is unstructured.
Yeah. All right. So there are more examples to understand it. So here, suppose for example, students are asking, what do you think about, students are asked, what do you think about online classes? So their responses can be anything. So you can say they are easier to listen, they are convenient. Sometimes the internet is slow. I like recorded lectures. So these are different responses. So how are you going to organize them? So you cannot really organize them in a specific way.
जीजू आ रहा हूँ
Suppose if you are having something like a rating, so how do you rate online classes? In that case, so how many 1-star, 2-star you can organize. But here, if you are just getting it as comments, you are not going to able to structure them or organize them in a specific way, right? So this is what.
They are scattered.
Yeah. So, and what is structured data? So you already know what is unstructured. So you know what is meant by structured. So a very different format is there. So usually we can represent them as rows and columns, right? So that is what is a structured data. So for example, if you have student ID, name, marks, this is an example of a structured data, right? You see any table, if you take automatically that you can refer it to as a organized data or structured data. Right? So here you can see what is the highest mark, calculate the average, sort students by marks. So many things can be done if you have a structured data. You cannot do such things in an unstructured data. Okay, fine. And
Ma'am.
Email ID is structured or
Hello.
unstructured?
Yes.
Ma'am, how we can change response into structured data, ma'am? Like just now you said that if we asking few students about the question that how is the online classes, so it is response and that is unstructured, ma'am. So if we have to change it into structured data, how we can change it?
Okay, suppose you want to convert it into a structured data. So in that case, maybe, for example, let us say you can put it as positive, negative, and neutral kind of comment. So each statement, so they are convenient, you can consider it as a positive statement. And sometimes the internet is slow. So maybe you can say it is kind of a negative statement. I like recorded lectures. This is neither positive nor negative. So you can put it kind of neutral. So it is kind of a little. So, this is one way to share this data you see. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Means
Excuse
email
me.
ID is structured or unstructured?
Yeah, sorry.
Email ID.
Please ask one by one. First person, I don't know. Is it Tanish who is asking the question or Sally who is asking the question?
Ma'am.
Please. What's your
Means
question?
email ID is structured or unstructured?
Email, this is something I answered already, right? So did you listen to that already? Let's not waste time on the same questions again and again. So I recommend everyone
You
to.
have that email content is unstructured, but email address is structured because it has name. It has
Yeah.
some structure.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, let's
Yes.
move on. How to converting unstructured data to structured data.
Ma'am, I had a doubt in the previous slide.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask that unstructured data is defined as data that is not organized in a predefined format. So could it be possible that the data is structured in a single format, but it's not the format that we defined earlier? So is it classified under unstructured data or structured data?
You can more or less say it as unstructured because the structure you are the format whatever you are having that it is not fitting into that, right? So it becomes unstructured. So you don't have a table format in them. So you have some extra data which is not fitting into that you are having.
Okay,
Ma'am?
ma'am. Thank you.
You are saying the predefined format, like it only includes the rows and columns format, the predefined format.
Usually if you are collecting data and structured, yes, something as
Can you please
Background sound is coming.
अरे भाई माइक तो ऑफ कर ले जीजा से बात कर
please
And
mute those.
please ask students to unmute the mics.
Every
Causing disturbance.
Please mute yourself, not this class.
I think you need to mute Tanishq Soni, ma'am.
Don't have the access.
Ma'am, I have a
Ma'am,
question.
you need force.
Ma'am, please mute.
See, Madam is the
Ma'am, mute
co-host.
all.
So Madam is
Tanishq Soni is disturbing the class.
So where were we? Yes. So unstructured data to structured data, right? So suppose a company receives comments about a new product, excellent, good, excellent, poor. So these comments are now unstructured. Now how can you organize them? So you can say ratings are there. What are the different types of rating and what are the number of comments? So excellent, good, poor. So now you are categorizing. So categorizing. This is more or less like the present absent kind of scenario, right? So once the data is structured, it is easy, right? Okay. So striking a
Ma'am, background music.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Ma'am, disturbing.
yes,
Causing disturbance.
able to talk.
Hello, ma'am, I have a question.
तनिष्क सोनी म्यूट करो.
They are disturbing us.
Let me try get in touch with the ops team who is the host. Just give me a minute.
Ma'am, the voice is from Tanishq Soni, ma'am.
Mute yourself.
It has gone now? Or is it
Yes.
still? Okay.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
Ma'am, can we convert unstructured data like the audio files or videos to structured data?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
Can we convert unstructured data like audio files or video files into structured data?
So yes, again, so for example, you structuring in the sense of what? So for example, videos. So let us say, suppose, let's say, based on the likes, number of likes, if you want to categorize them. So let us say videos which are having more likes, let's say more than 100 likes or something like this. And audios, if you want to categorize, so audios may be based on the size of the audios. Maybe you can categorize. So this audio's size, which is less than this much MP, so that you can categorize into a specific place. So something like this. So it depends
So,
on.
ma'am, we always require a particular criteria to convert unstructured data into structured data.
Exactly. So you have to be sure what is the question you have about the data. Based on that only you can say whether the unstructured data can be converted into structured data.
But the contents of the audio inside the audio, it is unstructured.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on what you want to understand from the given data. So if it is just the size of the audios, then this is fine. But if it is about the contents, it is going to be very difficult. Going to make it as a structure. First, you have to see what is the content, and then from the content, maybe something like a positive comment, negative comment, some classification, let us say. So something like that, it's going to be very hard. So always converting unstructured data into structured data is not going to be possible, or sometimes it is possible, but it's going to be very difficult. Okay. Fine.
Ma'am, but in exam, do they ask like how to convert this or like something related questions like that, or like they just ask like to simply classify like what are the structured data or what are unstructured data?
Mostly, you cannot expect questions like how to convert unstructured data to structured data. Something like what is structured and unstructured. That's all you can expect in exams. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Ma'am, can I ask one now?
Yes.
Ma'am, I saw one question in online for unstructured data. So which of the following is unstructured data? They asked me the question.
Sorry, what?
Which of the following is unstructured data? They asked me the question. They give 4 options.
So if you have some specific questions, shall we discuss it during the doubt session? That will be a better place to discuss.
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me.
Ma'am, can we perform mathematical operations on structured data?
Not always. So what do you mean by mathematical operation is again a big question. So for example, suppose let us say this present absent, you are having this data. So just you can see how many number of people are present or something. So sometimes it is not possible to make a final observation or see in the later weeks, maybe in week 2 and 3, you can see that not for all data, you can calculate things like mean, median, mode. So you see that only when you have certain type of data, which you call as numerical data. So in those numerical data, you have mean. Okay, but this other categories, mean, median and mode is possible for categorical data as well. So this part we are going to cover. So for which type of data, what kind of mathematical observations are possible, that is going to be discussed in week 2 and 3. Okay.
So for now, some structured data, we can perform some mathematical operations.
Exactly. So some mathematical operations are possible, but yeah, depending on the data, what kind of operations we can perform is limited. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. So,
Ma'am, structured data always has units?
Not necessarily. For example, here, what kind of units are you seeing here? This is something I'm calling it as structured data. What units are you seeing? There is no units. They are just simply numbers, right? There is no centimeter, kilogram or something. So they are just numbers, no units. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So,
Ma'am, your voice is very low.
is it?
Your
No, ma'am,
voice
it is
is
fine.
very
It's very
low.
clear, ma'am. No, it's very
No,
clear.
ma'am, it's very
Clear,
clear.
ma'am.
Clear.
Bro, it is clear, but
Clear, ma'am.
low.
Maybe try to increase your volume. For others, I guess there is no issue. So try it. Try what is the issue.
मैम it is a clear voice, but लैपटॉप में थोड़ी लो आ रही है वॉइस बहुत ज्यादा.
हेडफोन लगा लो भाई.
I'll try to talk louder. Okay. Fine. All right. So what are variables and cases? So the next topic is.
Ma'am, I just have a question. Like when the questions comes like email ID or PIN code of mobile number, does that come under structured data or that comes under unstructured data? And like how to identify that? Like when I was solving some practice questions, so I came across this question and I got like little confused, like how to identify this.
See, as I told you, when you are talking about structured and unstructured classification, it depends on what is that you are exactly looking into. So, are there any such ambiguous questions in our activity or in any of our assignment questions? Are there any such ambiguous questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
they are. There are.
Yes, ma'am.
Three of them are, ma'am, there are.
Okay,
There
then
are
Ma'am,
three questions.
there were some ambiguous question we find in assignment, practice assignment.
whatever you think are ambiguous, we will discuss it during the doubt session. Okay.
I think it is for extra practice.
Yes, from extra practice on 2 and activity 1.
Sure, we will have a look at it during the doubt session. Okay, fine.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. Okay, so next topic is what are variables and cases. Now, suppose we collect the following information about students in a class. Okay, so these are the information we have collected. So just 3 students here is there. So name, age, board, and marks you see. So here you see that. So here, what is a case and what is a variable? So here, case or observation is the unit about which the information is collected. So the information is about the students. So each student here is a case, right? So the information, whatever we are collecting is about students. So each student here, Arun, Priya, Ravi, each one of them is a case, right? And what is the definition of a case? A case is a unit from which data is collected. That's it. So whatever is the meaning I told you. So it's a unit from which from which the data are collected. Okay. So for example, let's see. So suppose you are studying the student performance. In this case, each student is a case. Suppose you are studying the weather data. You are again background. Tanishk, please mute. And hospital.
Medicine is wrong for me.
Patient becomes a case. And customer service.
अरे तनिष तू क्या
Switch off the mic.
Ma'am, can you please
Ma'am, can you
remove
remove him from the class?
Please make him your mic, man.
He's not listening. He's not in class.
He is intentionally doing.
Give me a minute.
अरे भाई
अरे तनिष म्यूट करना हेलो
Please mute yourself.
Everyone
मिस्टर तनिष ऐसा
भाई कोई
क्यों
सुन ही
कर
नहीं
रहा
रहा
है
है।
तुम
He is doing.
Tanix, please mute yourself. Tanix, listen to me. Please mute yourself.
Brother, he is not listening.
Ma'am, he is disturbing the class.
Yes, I have told him.
Intentionally disturbing. He knows that his mic is on.
Can you remove him?
Remove her.
Hey तनिष म्यूट योर माइक मैन
Remove him.
Okay, so we'll continue. So anyway, some ops person will be there to. I continue.
मैम
Yes.
बैकग्राउंड
I doubt ma'am
Yes.
आ रहा है बहुत ज्यादा।
Too much
ma'am
noise. Yes.
ma'am this is my first lecture. I'm listening about statistics ma'am.
मैम कैन यू
Ma'am,
रिमूव
the
इन
class
तनिक्स
cannot be taken
इन
so far.
क्लास?
Remove. I don't.
Class cannot be taken
अरे
so far
तेरे
if
घर
he is
वाले
like that.
पागल है क्या
Ma'am, you
करने
don't
बोलू
have
ने
All students mute in mic.
mute
Ma'am,
link.
remove them. They will
वो
watch
खुद
the
से कर
YouTube
रहा है.
live.
Ma'am, all student mute in your mic yourself.
No, ma'am
Mute
cannot do it.
Tanish,
She is not the host.
Don't have.
भाई फिर कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है ना, ये बात कर रहा है, क्लास डिस्टर्बेंस
न्यू
हो रहा है ना।
मीटिंग कैन न्यू मीटिंग स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं.
मैम आपके
वही
पास ऑप्शन होता
पता
है
नहीं
सबको
क्या
म्यूट
बात,
करने के
कैमरा
लिए।
छोड़ के चला गया।
आप होस्ट हो, आप सबको म्यूट कर सकते हो एक साथ में।
मैम तनिष को पनिशमेंट दे दो।
मैम उसके एड्रेस वायरल कर दो इसका फोन नंबर वगैरह
मैम उसे
Everyone
ब्लॉक करो,
please
ब्लॉक
be
कर दो।
quiet.
Excuse me, ma'am.
UPI से पैसे
Okay, so now you are able to hear me, right? Are you able to hear me? Yeah, okay, good. Finally, so the next topic we are going to look is what is a variable? Okay, so a variable is a characteristic that can take different values from one case to another. Okay, so in this case, for example, so here, for example, let's say here, you see age is a variable. Now you can see that it can take different values, 17, 16, 19, 20, any value it can take, right? So the ages can be different. So same way, any variable can take different values, right? So from one case to another, the variable values are going to vary. So variable means something that varies or changes, right? The screen is not visible. Just a minute. Yeah. Yeah, so variable is something which varies. So for example, as I told you here, so for example, here age is a variable. So you see age can vary. So this is a variable. Age is a variable. Board can vary. So board is a variable. Marks. So that is again another variable, right? So in our student data, you see that what are the different variables? Name, age, board, marks, all these are variables and these are some possible values, right? So since these values differ from students to student, they are varying, right? They are differing, so they are variables. Okay, so remember each variable must have its own column and each observation, that is observation means here case, must have its own row. So variable means it will have its own column and observation means it will have its own row. Okay, so in regards to variable, are there any questions? Please put it in the chat. So are there any questions regarding variables? Okay, good. So if there are no questions, yes, what is the, I see someone asking. Can you repeat case? See, case means something. So as I mentioned, it must have its own row. For example, now here, if you see this data, so each of this is a case. Okay. And each of this is a variable. These are variables. Right? Variables or you can see that in columns and case you can see in rows. The details of a case are available in rows and the details of the variables are available in columns. Okay. Yes, what other question? Yes, Arun is a case. So the values you see here, somewhere here, these are not cases. So the cases are, so the information is about students. So the students are the cases, not these values. Okay, so the information is about the students are the cases, not these values. So these are not cases. Okay, they are observations. That's it. So what are these? They are observation. No. Case is not a subset of variable. No. Okay. Yes, what other questions? Rows are representing cases. Yes, that's what I said. So difference between case and variable, again I'm saying. So case means, so what is that we are studying about? We are studying about students. So that is a case. Or if we want to say, for example, here we want to study about weather data. So each day is a case, right? If you want to see the hospital records, each patient is a case. So case means what is that we are studying about? Okay, and the information we are gathering about these cases, the various informations, they are the variables. So for a patient, what is their age? What is their blood group? So whether they have heart disease or not, so whether they have diabetes or not, what is their blood sugar level? All these are variables. So whatever you are studying about the case, they are variables. Okay, so you understand? I hope you understand. Yes, any other doubt? Specific question doubt, as I said, we will be discussing in doubt session. yeah, whether it is your first session or you have experience, it's not going to affect anything, because we are going to cover everything from basic. So you don't have to worry. You can do the course very well. Each name are also a variable. Each name is not a variable. The word name is a variable. Each name is not a variable. Yes, so name is a variable and Arun is a case. Correct. Okay, fine. So I guess with this, let's move on. Yeah, so we have seen what are variables and cases. Next, we will see what are the different classification of data. So data is widely classified as categorical and numerical. So this is a open session, but I guess in the calendar it was mentioned as a doubt session. So I'll try to see if I can change that. So this is the open session. So where I'm going to kind of explain everything. So on Sunday, it will be a doubt session. Okay. Fine. Okay, so now categorical and numerical. What are categorical and numerical variables? Variables can be broadly divided into two types: categorical variables and numerical variables. So what are categorical variable? A categorical variable places cases into different groups or categories. So for example, it tells us which group an observation belongs to and not how much or how many. So for example, you see here, so Arun belongs to CBSE, Priya is a state board and Ravi is ICSE. So here you see board is a categorical variable. Okay, so here where they are belonging to, whether they are belonging to CBSE or not. Sorry. Sorry. So whether they are belonging to CBSE or not, only that much is the question. Okay, so like there is no number or how much or how many related to the variable board. So board comes under a categorical variable or sometimes called as a qualitative variable. Okay, so you should be familiar with both these terminologies. So categorical as well as qualitative, both are same. Okay, so you should be aware of this. Okay, so the next thing is that, so here you see board is a categorical variable. Similarly, other examples you see gender, blood group, favorite sport, city, department, type of phone, all these things you see that they are all coming under categorical variables. Okay, so categorical variable answer questions like which group, which type, which category, and so on. So for example, which board does a student study in? Which blood group does a person have? So these things are categorical. Okay, and numerical, what are numerical variables? A numerical variable record numbers that represent quantities or measurements. Okay, also called quantitative variables. Okay, so for example, so here you see examples. So student, you are having Arun, Priya, Ravi, and the marks are 85, 92, and 78. These are the marks. So here mark is a numerical variable. Obviously, you see they are numbers, right? They are measurable quantity. So other examples, obvious examples are height, weight, age, temperature, so income, number of siblings, all these comes under numerical variables. Okay, so what are the main difference between categorical variable and numerical variable? Categorical variable also called as qualitative and numerical variable also called as quantitative. And this categorical variable represents groups or categories, whereas numerical variables represent quantities or measurements. So here we don't have any measurement units. So usually there are some measurement units involved here. Usually this does not mean must have. So may or may not be. Okay, measurement units, for example, number of siblings. So there is no units for that, right? So just you see number of siblings, 2, 3, only this much you are going to have. You are not going to have any units there. So may or may not be. But categorical variable, for sure, you can say no measurement units. Okay. And for categorical variable, definitely you cannot do something like add or taking average or something. But numerical variable, so most probably you can do some addition, average, or some comparison. So this word is again important, can often. Okay, so most likely that you will be able to add or something, but sometimes it may not be possible that you will be able to add also. So there are some specific scenarios where you will have such things also. So can you now ask your doubts one by one? So let's not have too many, otherwise I will not be able to read. Everything will just run. PIN number and phone number. will they be categorical? So what is that you think? So will it be categorical or not? PIN number and phone number. See, they are again numbers, right? So whether this will come under phone, category or numerical variables. Nominal. We have not yet gone to nominal, ordinal and all. So just numerical or categorical. Only this much we are having. So what do you think? So PIN number, do you think you can add or do something? Phone number, will you be able to add? So usually we can say that PIN numbers, phone numbers, these are kind of categorical variables. So you don't really have some numerical meanings for this, right? But when it comes to year is usually considered as a numerical variable because the number, so for example, when are you born? So let's say you are born in 2000. So now it is 2026. So what is your age? 2026 minus 2000. So it's going to make some sense, right? So sometimes, so this year may have a categorical meaning also. It depends on the context again. For example, the release of a phone, so iPhone 14, iPhone 15, iPhone 16. So let's say they were released in 2020, 2022 or something like this. So in this case, they are just again categories. So when are they released? So if you subtract 1 year from another year, will you get iPhone 16 minus iPhone 14, iPhone 2? No, nothing like that. Okay, so what is the context in which they are using it? So you have to be careful. So in general, year, yes, you can consider it as a numerical variable. But phone number and PIN numbers, no. Okay. So yeah, so next, the scales of measurement, I'm going to cover it yet. I have not covered it yet. So apart from this year, day and date, a categorical or numerical. Day, of course, day, if you are considering, it is going to come under category. But date, yes, so date to some extent, we can consider it as a numerical variable. Okay, so date can be considered as a numerical variable. Okay, what about discrete and continuous? I guess discrete and continuous comes in the next week or only this week. I remember not seeing any discrete continuous in this week. Right? Okay, fine. So this week only, I did not see in any of the slides. Okay, if at the end of the session, maybe we'll cover it. Okay, fine. All right, so here, now we are going to see what is cross-sectional data and time series data. Okay, so for example, so here data, what is mean by cross-sectional and time series? Please pay attention. So again, whatever doubts you are having, I'm going to ask again at the end of the session once again. So let's now concentrate on what I am going to explain. Okay, so I'll give time to ask more questions at the end. So cross-sectional and time series. So what is mean by cross-sectional and what is mean by time series? So now this comes when we are asking the above question. Are we comparing different cases at one point in time or are we tracking the same variable over time? For example, so let us say here you have this example below. A public health researcher collects the number of COVID-19 cases in 20 districts of Tamil Nadu on March 1st on one point in time. So this is one point in time, right? You are gathering different cases. So here in Salem, in Chennai, in Coimbatore, you are gathering different things, right? So this is what is cross-sectional. So when you are gathering some data, which is happening at the same point of time, that is cross-sectional data. Okay, so multiple cases happening at the same point. Okay, so now you know what should be the other part. So cross-sectional and what is time series data? You already have the answer. Are we tracking the same variable over time? So for example, so here you see that. So a company records its monthly electricity consumption from January 2022 to December 23. So monthly electric consumption. So this same thing recorded over a period. So this is time series. So what is the main difference you see? So cross-sectional means you are seeing the data is collected at one point of time, right? Different cases are seen. But in the case of time series, you see that the same data is collected over a period of time. Okay, so these are the main difference between time series and cross-sectional data. So now let's see another example for cross-sectional. So here you see that so the teacher records marks of all students in a class in the final examination of term 1 2026. So now you see all the data are collected at the same time. So in the final exam of this particular term. So you see that this is a cross-sectional data. And for time series data, so you see daily temperature in Chennai during June 2026 on what is the temperature in June 1, June 2, June 3 and so on. So that temperature recorded each day over the period of the month of June, right? So you are recording the same value, the same concept, that is temperature over a period, that is June. Okay, so this is what you say as time series data. So here you have some small exercise. Maybe you can answer in the chat as what is, so you can maybe write one is cross-sectional. So cross-sectional maybe use CS and time series TS. So one is cross-sectional or time series. Okay, so one is cross-sectional. So height of 50 students measured today. So at one point of time, so cross-sectional. What about two? In June, time series. Okay, what about three? Population of different Indian states in 2025. Again, time series. So population of different Indian states in 2025 and India's GDP from 2015 to 2025 over a period of time. So this is again time series. Okay. So sorry, here by the way, this is cross-sectional. So in one period of time, so you are calculating the population of different Indian states. So the same you are calculating for in 2025 in one period 2025. So this is cross-sectional again. Okay. See, it depends on, see, first one, let's say that you are measuring today. So here, what is the height of 50 students? So student 1, student 2, student 3. So these are the students list and these are the heights today. Right? So you see that same height is measured for different students. So this is coming under cross-sectional data. What about the second one? Daily rainfall in Salem during June. So you see that, so here day, so June 1, June 2, June 3, right? And then daily rainfall. So over a period, over the month of June. Same thing, rainfall is calculated. So this is time series. So this is CS, this is TS. Right? And what about the next one, third one? Population in 2025. So here, so some people were saying TS, even I was thinking as TS. So it depends on how you are saying, right? Population of different Indian states in 2025. So let's say you are going to do this. So usually population census is not something you are going to repeat several times in a year, right? So only once in a year you are going to do this population count. So let's say that population in 2025. So let's say Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, so Andhra Pradesh, UP, so all these different states. So don't feel that I'm not mentioning any of your states, sorry. So yeah, so you see that population in 2025 over different, so for different cases we are calculating here. So the same thing, so here this is again cross-sectional because population in one particular year I am taking, so not over a period in 1 year, in 1 year. So this is the point of time I'm considering. So this is the point of time I'm considering. So if the same thing is done in a different way. So population in 2025, let's say varying in January, February, March, April, something like this, then it's going to be a time series. But if I'm going to consider it as data which is gathered once in a year. So then this becomes a cross-sectional data. Okay. And the fourth one, yeah, India's GDP from 2015 to 2025. Of course, here you see that. So 2015 GDP, 2016, 2017, and so on. So this is obviously time series data. So over a period, what is the GDP? Okay, so you see this is over a period. Okay, so these 4 examples, is it clear for everyone? Yeah. So census is time series. So see, as I'm saying, it depends on what is that you are looking. So if you are saying population in 1 year, then that becomes cross-sectional. But if you are saying what is the population from 2015 to 2025, then that becomes a time series. Okay. For a particular state, if you are looking, then that becomes a time series. Okay, all right. So continuing further. So the last topic here is the scales of measurement. So scales of measurement, here you have data collection requires one of the following scales of measurement. What are the different scales of measurement? Nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So now what is meant by nominal? That is the very first thing we are going to see. So you see the scales of measurement, you kind of sometimes also said that this is kind of the lowest category, you can say. Because here you see that when the data for a variable consists of labels or names used to identify characteristic of an observation, the scale of measurement is considered a nominal scale. So for this, usually you cannot do any kind of mathematical operations. Okay, maybe something like a mode or something can be done, or maybe sometimes you can do a median, but in general, yeah, this is the lowest category. So this is median is also not possible for nominal, only for ordinal you can do. So nominal you can maximum perform mode. Okay, so we will see these things, what is mean, median, mode, for which scale we can perform what. So these things we are going to discuss in week 2 anyway. So yeah. So nominal scale, you see that name, board, gender, blood group, all these are nominal scale of measurement. And why they are nominal scale of measurement? I guess it's obvious, right? So here you see that you cannot you cannot order them in a specific way. They are just some labels, right? So sometimes this is something very tricky. So usually you see any games. So for example, cricket, football. So all the players, so they have some numbers on their t-shirt. So does the number have any numerical meaning? The numbers you see in the t-shirts, does it have any meaning to understand? There is no meaning, right? Because you see they are just some labels. So just it is kind of a code. So for example, I don't know who are the current players, and also Dhoni means let's say number 10 or something. So some things like that. So for a specific player, you are giving a code number, and that is not having any numerical value. They are just codes. Okay, so in that case, you have to be careful. So just by looking at numbers, you should not think that they are numerical. So that comes under nominal if they are going to represent codes. Okay, so that you have to be careful. All right. Okay. And here also you have to make sure that so there is no ordering. If there is an ordering which you can see, then that comes under the next category, which is ordinal. Okay, so similar type of category. So data exhibits property of nominal data. So the properties are very much similar to nominal. Okay, but there is some order you can see. Okay, so for example, service rating, you see excellent, good, poor, you can see there is some order. Right? So because you see some order is there, you can say that these data like you see excellent, good, poor, or maybe something. Do I have more examples? So maybe I will say something like this. So for example, which floor? Okay, which floor if I'm saying. So the floor you can order them, right? So first floor, second floor, third floor, you can order. So let us say stages of cancer, first stage, second stage, third stage of infection. So these things you have some order. So these are nominal, but still there is an order within this. So that's why we are saying this is a ordinal category. Okay, so whenever they are just categories, they are, but still you have some order, they are called ordinal scale of measurements. All right. And then the last one, interval scale of measurement. not the last, we have a ratio again. So the next one is the interval scale of measurement. What are interval scale of measurement? If the data have all the properties of ordinal data and the interval between values is expressed in terms of a fixed unit of measure, then the scale of measurement is interval. So for example, you see temperature. So temperature, usually they are mostly, not mostly, always you can see that interval means they are numerical. Definitely they are numerical. Okay, they are always numeric. Okay, and you can find out difference between any two values. Difference is possible. Okay, but what is the ratio? That does not have any meaning. What does it mean? Ratio does not have any meaning. So suppose, for example, this is a usual example used to explain the interval. So suppose the response to a question on how hot the day. So let's say the answer can be in several different ways. So if it is, you are saying comfortable, uncomfortable, then it is just a nominal variable. Suppose you are saying it as cold, warm, or hot, then there is an order. So this is ordinal. Okay. Now we are going to say it in terms of numbers. So now the AC room temperature is set as 20 degrees Celsius. Outside temperature is 40 degrees Celsius. Right. So now can we say that the temperature outside is twice or as hot as the temperature inside the room? It is not making sense. That is not correct also. Right. So you cannot say that something is twice as much as the other quantity. So here you can make difference. What is the difference? 40 minus 20, 20 degrees Celsius. This difference you can say, but you cannot say something is as much, so twice as much as this. That sense does not work here. And also, this is something very important. We say this as no absolute zero. What is mean by absolute zero, by the way? What is mean by absolute zero? So here we are saying in Celsius, there is 0 degrees Celsius, I'm saying. So what is this 0 referring to? Does this refer to absence of temperature? Does this say there is no temperature? But someone is saying 0 means it does not mean no temperature. In other words, I can say 0 means it is 32 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, so what is mean by 0? 0 means there is nothing. That is what is 0. But here, when you are talking in intervals, there is nothing called an absolute zero. Okay, so in that case, that comes under intervals. Okay, so this is a glaring difference you can see between interval and ratio scale. So the next scale is the ratio scale of measurement. If the data have all the properties of interval, right? So you see everything about interval is there, but also the ratio of two values is meaningful. Then the scale of measurement is ratio. So for example, height, what does it mean by height 0? So definitely it means that there is nothing existing there. Height 0 means nothing is existing there. I will come to the doubts. Please hold on. So when I tell you, ask your doubts at that time, please ask. Otherwise, all your doubts are just going to vanish in the big pool of chat messages. So please wait. Okay. So here next, if you see weight, again weight 0 means it says that there is no object, right? And again age 0 means the person is not yet born. Mark 0 means the person has not scored anything. So 0 definitely says absence, complete absence. Absolute 0, that is absence of something, right? So here what is the meaning of 0 is clear when it comes to a ratio scale of measurement. So coming to precise and short definition of each of these scales of measurement, nominal means name categories without any order. Ordinal means name categories that can be ordered. Interval means again numerical values that can be added or subtracted, but very importantly, there is no absolute zero. And ratio, it can be added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided, and there is an absolute zero. Right? So you see that these are the main points about scales of measurement. We have some exercises, small exercise only. Can you quickly tell in the chat the answer for this match the following? So for A, what is the matching in B? Column B. Nominal is blood group. Very good. What about ordinal? Ordinal is rank of students in a class. Okay. What about interval? Interval is, yeah, temperature. Ratio, weight of a person. These things are very clear, I hope, right? So just a quick revision here. So here you see ratio means true zero exists, ratios are possible. So these are some examples. And interval means no absolute zero, but you can do the difference. So both are numerical. And ordinal and nominal, both are categorical, right? And ordinal means you have order, nominal means just categories without any order. So now you ask your questions about scales of measurement. Whether it is Kelvin or whether it is Celsius, it's going to be anyway interval only. What kind of variable is rating? Rating comes under ordinal only, right? Because the numbers does not make any numerical sense, right? Yeah. So explain again interval and ratio. See, interval and ratio, as I'm mentioning, so this confusion many people have. So why there is this confusion? What is the meaning of absolute zero is what you need to see. So absolute zero, if that is clear, then you will have a clear understanding of what is meant by ratio and interval scale. So what is mean by absolute zero? Absolute zero means there is nothing, right? So that is what is absolute, right? Now, for example, if you take for this temperature itself, so temperature itself, so here as I mentioned, what is mean by zero? So zero means, so here 0 degrees Celsius, what does it mean? So 0 degrees Celsius means, again, you see that in Fahrenheit, it is actually saying there is some temperature. Okay. So when you want to say the temperature as a ratio scale, there is a specific way where you can say, so there you need to use Kelvin. So if you want to say temperature as a ratio scale, in that case, you have to use Kelvin. Okay. So if you are either saying it as a Celsius or Fahrenheit, in both these cases, you see that 0 does not mean that the absence of temperature. It just says that it is some way of understanding the temperature. Okay, so 0 is usually the freezing point, we say. So that freezing point, I'm referring it as 0. So 0 is the just a place where I'm marking it as my 0. It does not say that there is no temperature, right? And the difference, as you said, so if you understand what is absolute zero, complete absence of something. So suppose let us say you are saying you are in 0 centimeter. So you have not started moving at all. You are just in the origin itself. You have not started. The process has not started. Same way in the kg, if you are saying 0 kg, there is nothing you are measuring. So here no movement. So complete absence. So complete absence of that particular thing. So this is what is meant by absolute zero. Right? So ratio has a scale has absolute zero, whereas if you see the interval scale, it has no absolute zero. So this is the main difference between ratio and interval. Okay. And there was a question about discrete and continuous, of course. So let us quickly cover what is discrete and continuous before going to the general doubts. So discrete and continuous. What is mean by discrete and what is mean by continuous? Okay. So if I'm counting something, so usually discrete means I am counting something and measuring something comes under continuous. For example, so I am counting number of siblings. Right? Or I am counting number of students. Right? So these are something which I am counting. Right? So these countings, so because we are counting, usually they are appearing as integer values. Or let's say whole numbers. So usually whole numbers. Right? Now you see that discrete means we are just counting and we are not measuring. Okay, but suppose there is a small problem with saying in general. So usually maybe I'll use the word usually whole numbers. Okay, so I'll come back to it after explaining continuous. Continuous means something, as I said, we are measuring something. So for example, here we have height. You can measure the height, you can measure the weight. So let's say in your class, the height is varying in a range of let's say 140 centimeter to 190 centimeter. So it means there can be any value in between these two. So let's take the real line. So let's say this is 140 and this is 190. So you take in the real line, any point here is a possible value for height. So you see this line is continuous, right? So this is continuous. So same way height. Same way weight. Weight, you can see that. So any weight between, let's say, I don't know, 25 is something counting. Maybe it's too much, I'm thinking. So maybe let's say 30 to, let's say 100. Okay. So 30 to 100 kgs. So this is where your weight is varying. So anywhere in between 30 to 100 can be your weight. Okay, so you can see that. So this is discrete and this is continuous. So discrete means usually something you can count, and continuous means something you can always measure. So you are going to use a tape or a weighing scale to measure. Okay, so for example, if I'm asking marks out of 100 as whole numbers, then it becomes discrete. Right? But if I'm going to give grades like in marks in terms of like any point value, I can, for a question, suppose I'm allowed to give 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, any value if I'm allowed to give, then that becomes continuous. Right? So what is meant by discrete? So it has some gaps in between. So discrete means gaps are there, but continuous, there are no gaps. Right? So discrete means if you are, suppose say, you are just considering 0, 1, 2, 3. So these points alone you are considering. So this means you see these are the points you are considering. So you have lot of gap here. So this means this is discrete. But in continuous, you don't have any gap. Okay. All right. Now, suppose let us say now there is something like let us say 1.5. So suppose let us say I'm going to calculate the number of chocolates. So number of chocolates can be 1 chocolate, 2 chocolate. So this can be whole numbers. But suppose exact half is also possible. So let's say 1.5, 2.5. This is possible. So in this case, do I say it as discrete or continuous? Right? So usually we are counting. So what about 1.5 and 2, 1.5 or something like this? Yeah. So even if you are dividing objects, you are still counting them, right? So you are just counting, you are not measuring anything. So it is considered as discrete only. Okay, fine. So discrete in general, remember there are gaps. So you are not going to measure exactly how much, you are just counting. So they are coming under discrete. But continuous means there is no gap between the measurements. All possible values in a given range can be considered in the considered for the variable, that is continuous. So I have covered all the topics from week 1. Now you can ask your question. If we observe temperature of different states in the month of June, will it scrolled up fast. Temperature of different states in the month of June. Yeah, it is going to become in the month of June, 1 month. So one time you are observing the temperature. The temperature once you are taking over different states. So in that case, it becomes cross-sectional. But suppose if you are going to do it every day, June 1, June 2, June 3, then it becomes time series. Okay. There are too many questions. Date, how date is numerical, as we can not do any mathematical operations on it. So, okay. So coming to date again, it is going to be like, how are you going to view it? So date, so suppose let us say I cannot really add. So 1st Jan 2025, so with 2nd Jan 2025, it does not make sense. But date in the sense of, so let us say starting from, so it depends on, everything is depending on context, right? So date, so suppose say, let us say this course started on, first session started on 19th June. Okay. And the last session, so just for example, I'm saying, so the last session, let us say is on August, 19th August. Okay, so I cannot literally do 19th August minus 19th June, but I can calculate the number of days in between them. So it depends on how are you going to view them, right? So date is kind of a really a special case, we can say. So you cannot directly add or subtract. It depends on how you are going to use it. Okay, so directly you cannot do addition or subtraction. But yeah, you can see the number of days between two dates. That is possible, right? So the difference between 2 days is meaningful, right? Okay, so it is not exactly like the other things like height, weight, or other things, but you see that it is going to make sense in this way, right? Okay. So what are the other questions? There are like 30, 40 questions. Why date is considered? Okay, what about age? Is it discrete or continuous? Okay, so age, if you are going to consider, so again, everything depends on context. So age, if you are just going to consider it as 21, 22 as whole numbers, and again, it's going to be discrete. But if you are allowing it in points, like depending on the date, so let's say someone is having birthday on June 19th. Okay, so and if you want to say that the person's age, so June 19, 2022, so 26 is the age, if you want to say, then it becomes discrete, right? But if you want to say, calculate June 19, 2020, I am going to include the time. So let's say 9 p.m. So now what is the time? So I'm going to calculate exactly in percentage, like 26.005, something like this. So I'm just saying some random number. So something like this, if you are going to say, then it becomes continuous, right? So usually no one does this. So in general, we are going to say age as a discrete value. But in case if you are doing something like this, then that is going to become continuous. Okay. Yeah, Kelvin has an absolute value. I mentioned that Kelvin has an absolute 0. So if you want to consider temperature as a ratio scale, then you have to consider temperature in Kelvin. Okay, so variables with an interval scale of measurement can be converted into a ratio scale of measurement by performing. I did not say anything about conversion. Usually these conversions and all, we are not doing anywhere. So these conversions, we don't do usually. That's not possible for all scenarios. Maybe from specific scenarios it is possible, but in general it's not possible. Difference between dates is possible. Yes. Okay. In time series, we can observe multiple variables like cross-section. Only difference is in the time series, there is an interval. Exactly. So time series is over a period, but the cross-sectional is at a particular point of time. Yes. There are like 60 messages. I don't know whether I am able to cover everything, but rating in points like 3.5, 4.55. See, as long as you are not going to consider all values between 1 to 5, it is going to remain discrete. If you are just going to consider 1, 1.52, that's fine. You are still counting, right? How many 1 you can count, how many 2.5 you can count, how many 3.5 you can count. So this is possible, right? But then you are, if you are saying all possible values between 1 and 5. So 1.9999. So every possible decimal values you can consider, then it becomes continuous. So usually rating, we never do such things. So it is discrete only. There are several questions which are repeated, and several people, several times I see life is short. I don't know why. Okay. Several messages are repeated. I guess you want me to see if that's why you repeated it several times. How can we use interval and ratio scale on data? Yeah, so as I mentioned, so why these different scales of measurement are important? So different scales of measurement are important because you see that, so in later week 2 and week 3, so you can see that this based on what is the scale of measurement, you can decide what are the mathematical operations possible. Okay, so that is why you are asking like data set in data set, how are we going to use it? This is how it is going to be used. So based on the type of data, certain type of mathematical operations are possible and certain types are not possible. For example, as I told you, so for nominal scale, mode is possible, but median is not possible. So median means you need an order. So for ordinal data, you can perform median, but for both nominal and ordinal, you cannot perform mean. Right? So like this, there are few operations which we cannot perform for a certain scale and which we can perform for other scales. That's why understanding scales of measurement is important. Okay, fine. So yeah, there is a question, why CGPA interval? Okay, so now what is mean by the CGPA? If you understand that, then I guess you can say what is why CGPA is interval, right? So can we say that? So let us say someone has 4 CGPA and the other person is having 8 GPA. So can we say that the person who scored 8 GPA is twice as good as the person who performed, who got 4 GPA? Can we say that? Does it make any sense? Right? So what is mean by GPA? That first of all you need to understand. Okay, so GPA is usually coming under interval. So in that case, what is mean by 0 CGPA? Maybe can you do it as a small homework? Everyone try to understand what is GPA and what is mean by GPA equal to 0. If you understand this, you already know the answer. So maybe this is a homework for everyone, good homework for everyone. Go and read how CGPA or GPA is calculated and what is mean by GPA equal to 0. Okay. So for example, suppose let us say some person has failed in all courses. Okay, so the person has failed in all courses. Does it mean that the person did not score even 1 mark? Okay, so think about it. So what does mean by GPA equal to 0? You have to think about it. GPA usually is a measure which tells the learning, so the knowledge of a person. So GPA 0 means, does it tell that the knowledge gained by the student from this course is 0? What does it mean? 0, as I told you, absolute 0 means there is absolutely nothing. So GPA 0, does it means that there is no knowledge learned or no marks? So in whatever sense you are going to say, you can argue in many ways, there is no absolute 0 for GPA. So you can also say that you cannot say 8 GPA is twice as better as 4 GPA. So in all these senses, you can say that GPA is interval, it's not ratio. Okay. Again, there are 50 more messages. Okay. This is useful. Thank you. If data is being collected, we are again going very fast. If data, someone from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. on a day, then this data is this cross section. See, again 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. you are going to, so usually if you are in hospitals, they are collecting your blood sample, blood sugar level every once in a while in the whole day. So one day, several different times they are going to take the blood sugar. So it's not about the word one day. it depends on in one day, is it one time or several times? Based on that, it becomes time series or cross-sectional. If it's once in a day, then it becomes cross-sectional. But if it is over a period of different time intervals between 1 hour, 2 hour or something like that within one day, then it becomes time series. It depends on once or several times in a given period. Okay, so that's it. Yes, those who are asking, can I leave? Yes, you can leave. Please speak aloud. Sorry, we are really at the end of the session, and if I did not talk aloud, I'm sorry. Awesome lecture. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll again, time series and cross-sectional is confusing. See, remember this one word, cross-sectional. So cross-sectional means you are already saying that you are collecting the data at only one point of time. Time series over a period of time. Always remember this. Okay, cross-sectional, only one point of time. Time series over a period of time. If you remember this, usually you will be able to distinguish. Okay, again, I cannot unmute. Yeah. So again, on Sunday, we will have our doubt session. So whatever doubts you are having, we will discuss again on Sunday. Thank you, everyone. It was a very interactive session, and luckily for those who are listening, please listen that at least in the next session, please make sure you are in mute if you are not talking. This is creating a lot of disturbance in the class. Please make sure you mute, so that this kind of a scenario where you all in mute is not happening. This created a lot of issue in today's session. Okay. All right. Yes, are there any other question? Oh, the PDF notes, I'm going to just share it. Give me a minute. I will share that through your course page itself. Okay. Thank you.